From Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.
Tonight on News Hour, 7 more kidnapped Abuja-Kaduna train passengers regain freedom. President Buhari urges Nigerians to put country's interest above self as Muslims celebrate Eid al-Kabir. APC expresses worry over poor voter registration in Northwest. And away from Nigeria, Sri Lanka president to step down, parliamentary speaker says amid storm of protest. Hello and welcome to Trust News Hour. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thank you for joining. Now, another batch of 7 abducted passengers of the Abuja-Kaduna train attack have regained freedom. This follows negotiations led by Tukur Mamu, the Kaduna-based publisher that mediated the release of the initial 11 abductees. Those released on Saturday include Bosede Olurotimi, Abubakar Zubairu, Al-Hassan Sule, and Sadiq Ango Abdullahi. Others are Muhammad Dayabu Paki, Aliu Usman, and the only foreign national of Pakistani origin, Dr. Muhammad Abuzar Afzal. Speaking on the development, Mamu said that the success of the Saturday's release of the victims has vindicated Sheikh Ahmad Gumi's stand on what the power of mediation can achieve. A viral video has been trending on social media showing the kidnapped cousin to the former president, Honorable Mike Ogiasa, being tied in a 6-foot pit dug in an unknown location, pleading for his safe release from the abductor's den. Ogiasa, former commissioner for special duties in Bayelsa State, was kidnapped on Wednesday, June 2, by unknown gunmen, numbering 8 from his home country in Otuabadi in Ogbia local government area of the state while returning from a meeting. The video, which was released by unknown persons, showed the abducted Mike Ogiasa in a 6-foot pit at an unknown area and his head covered with black hood. His 2 hands were tied while he was heard appealing to his friends and families to pay the ransom for his kidnappers to release him. When contacted, police spokesman in Bayelsa State, SP Asinim Butswat, said that he could not authenticate the viral video, but assured that security forces in the state are intensifying efforts to ensure that the abducted politician is rescued unhurt. President Muhammadu Buhari took part in the Eid al-Kabir prayers in Daura on Saturday, urging Nigerians to intensify exposing unusual activities so as to uncover bandits and terrorists in their localities. He is confident that this will prompt the security apparatus to eliminate threats across the country. The president shared his thoughts with newsmen at his country home in Daura just as he interacted with persons who came to pay homage to him. Kende Amodu reports.
Away from the turmoil of insecurity, President Buhari comes home to Daura to find some temporary reprieve. But even at home these days, the dark clouds of insecurity loom large in Katsina State. Despite the specter of insecurity hovering in the background, the Muslim faithful in Daura turned out in large numbers for the prayers at the Kofa Arewa praying ground. To appreciate the people, the president walked back to his house from the prayers. The walk back home is probably to pass a message to the terrorists that their reign of intimidation means nothing to him. In fact, he has a harsh message for them.
I hope the rest of Nigerians that are making trouble, the terrorists and so on, will understand Nigeria's problem is for people to be productive in terms of producing the food we eat. Look at when we closed our borders for about 2 years. We stopped importing rice. A lot of people had gone back to the land and they haven't regretted it. We are now feeding ourselves and some rice is being exported. So this is my objective and I am achieving it. My only problem is that there are still people who really benefit from killing other people and stealing and so on.
But the president also has key words of advice to people in communities.
We hope that the rainy season will be good and our people will be productive. I think that's the most important thing, when there is enough food for the people.
Meanwhile, in keeping with one of his annual customs, whenever he's in Daura for Eid al-Kabir, the president met with members of the National Youth Service Corps. His advice to them is to look beyond culture, ethnicity, and religion in relating with one another, urging more travels, mingling, tolerance, and negotiations to appreciate the rich diversity of the country.
Nigeria is so vast, culturally, ethnically, and religiously, and we have to learn to tolerate and live with each other. So I congratulate you for you coming here to the other end of Nigeria from wherever you come.
In his remarks, the Corps Liaison Officer, CLO, Douglas Damina, thanked the president for encouraging sustenance of the NYSC and promoting youth inclusiveness and empowerment.
We wish to respectfully thank Mr. President for his very good disposition to the welfare of Corps members in particular and the entire Nigerian youth in general.
Keeping with these routine and seemingly simple tasks in Daura is President Buhari's way of telling rampaging terrorists that they will not disrupt the flow of life in Nigeria. Despite the daring, bold acts of the terrorists, the message is that Eid celebrations will go on, and so will life as Nigerians know it. Kehinde Amodu, Trust TV News.
As Muslims celebrate Eid al-Kabir in Nigeria and around the world, the virtues of love, peace, and unity have been advocated. Though the nation is passing through economic challenges, these have not stopped them from promoting peaceful coexistence. Musa Luka reports.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
Saturday, July 9, 2022, which is equivalent to 10th Zulhajj 1443 after Hijrah, is Eid al-Kabir in Nigeria and other parts of the Muslim world. Muslims observe this annual event to commemorate the initial sacrifice made by Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, who saw a vision in which he was divinely commanded by Allah to offer his only son then as sacrifice. The PRO Nasfat Abuja branch Abdul Kabir Bello urged Muslims, as encouraged by the teachings of Islam, to extend a hand of fellowship to others within their immediate communities, especially the less privileged.
Alhamdulillah for witnessing another beautiful Eid al-Adha. We praise Allah, we thank Him, we glorify Him for making us to witness another Eid al-Adha. There are a lot of people that we did the celebration last year, but by the grace of God, they are not alive today. But being alive is very important for us to be saying Alhamdulillah. So as we are celebrating, we also need to remember so many things and so many lessons to be learned from the history and the origination of the celebration of Eid al-Adha. May Allah continue to be our guide. May Allah make us to witness more Eid al-Adha. And I want to sincerely plead with our Muslim brothers and sisters, as we are celebrating, we should try as much as possible to remember those people that are not financially buoyant, either to buy ram, even to buy small chicken.
Speaking on the unity of the nation, Malam Bello reiterated that Islam is a religion of peace and urged Muslims to be peace ambassadors in their communities.
Our noble Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam preaches peace. As we celebrate Eid al-Adha, we should try as much as possible to let people around us appreciate us more. Let them see the beauty of Islam in us. Let them know that Islam is about peace, and is about peace. Let them move closer to us because they are seeing the peace in us.
Other Muslims expressed joy as they participate in this year's celebration.
The Salah, well, it's going nice. I'm new in this town, you understand? So I'm getting to know people, I'm getting to socialize with people, you understand? And it's fun though, it's fun. I was here also for the Eid al-Fitr, you understand? And this is Eid al-Kabir. At least I've made another family here.
Musa Luka Musa, Trust TV News, Abuja.
The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Farouk Yahaya, has assured that the military will continue to discharge its constitutional roles to ensure that the current challenges of security in the country are surmounted. The Army Chief disclosed this at the joint Salah luncheon with troops of Operation Hatin Kai in Maimalari Cantonment in Maiduguri. The report.
The joint Salah celebration of the Army and Air Force was to mark Eid al-Kabir with recuperating troops of Operation Hatin Kai at the Maimalari Cantonment. The special luncheon was a reflective moment for men of the force as they remembered soldiers who paid the supreme price. The Chief of Air Staff noted that the synergy between the Army and Air Force has recorded successful defeats by Operation Hatin Kai, Desert Sanity and Hadarin Daji in the fight against terrorism in the region, and assured of commitment and support. Meanwhile, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Farouk Yahaya, represented by Chief of Policy and Plans, said the present security challenges will not deter the military in its operational conduct and patriotism in bringing peace to the country. He reiterated the Army's commitment to training, improved welfare and reward for excellence for soldiers and officers.
Indeed, the nation has been faced with myriads of security challenges which have distorted the livelihood of all citizens. Nevertheless, the Nigerian Army has continued to employ effective means to tackle these challenges through professional conduct of its officers and men in the field. Let me use this opportunity to once again pay special tribute to our beloved colleagues who have paid the supreme price in the defense of our fatherland. The Nigerian Army, under my leadership, remains committed to providing quality welfare for their families and preserving the memories of their uncommon sacrifices.
This motion thus provides an opportunity to share, unwind and appreciate your efforts in ongoing counterterrorism and counter-insurgency operations. It's also aimed at fostering companionship, reducing tension, emanating from the operational environment, and to reassure you of our commitment to continuously provide the required support to sustain land, maritime, and air operations. The Nigerian Force remains committed toward providing air components with necessary equipment and platforms in support of joint operations to ensure peace in the region.
The Army further revealed that over 61,000 combatant and non-combatant Boko Haram members have surrendered, adding that the Army will continually keep its arms open for more repentant insurgents willing to embrace peace.
Worshippers in Ilorin, the Kwara State capital, turned out en masse to observe the 2 Raka'at Eid al-Kabir prayer, with Governor Abdurrahman Abdurazak calling for peaceful coexistence among Nigerians. Shortly before leaving for the palace to pay homage to the Emir, the governor told reporters he was pleased with the peaceful Eid. He said as long as the country has peace, prosperity is guaranteed. The Eid prayer was led by the chief imam of Ilorin, Sheikh Muhammad Bashir Saliu, who thereafter slaughtered the sacrificial ram, which symbolizes the high point of the Eid rite.
It's very good. 1 minute with that.
Well, we thank God that we've seen today. We've had a peaceful Eid. The message to Nigeria is about peace and prosperity. So long as we have peace, the nation will prosper. So we should all work for that common peace, inner peace, outwards peace. And all will be well in Nigeria. Thank you.
Muslims in Nasarawa state have joined their counterparts across the globe to celebrate Eid al-Kabir. Abubakar Abdullahi reports that prayers were offered at different Eid grounds and rams sacrificed by some faithful. His report is presented from our studio.
Deputy Chief Imam of Lafia Central Mosque, Malam Yusuf Naibi, led the annual Eid prayer at the Lafia Central Eid ground. Naibi, in his sermon, charged believers who can afford to ensure that they are not left out in the animal sacrifice, of emphasizing that camel and ram, depending on the availability and affordability, can be used for the sacrifice. In Kwadiri, the Chief Imam Salihu Akwai, who led the prayer, cautioned faithful in his sermon against use of sick or deformed animals for the sacrifice. One cannot use a ram that is crippled, has one eye, or too small for sacrifice. In their Salah messages, Emir of Lafia, Sidi Bagi, and Sangarin Kwadiri, Ahmadu Al-Makura, thanked Allah for the opportunity to be among those that witnessed the celebration and call on the people of their domains to continue to pray for the sustenance of peace and development of the nation. If we are busy with one trade or the other, we will not have time to engage on wholesome activities. I am calling on everyone to learn a trade in order to make a decent living. We have been talking about voters registration, and so I am using this avenue to again encourage people to come out and register. Rams were slaughtered after the prayer session at different mosques across the state, as well as horse riding, among others. We appreciate God for giving us good health and allowing us to see this day.
Now, Muslims in Nigeria have been admonished to change their attitude towards seeking God's intervention on issues bedeviling the country and total submission to the will of Allah. This was part of the sermon during the Eid al-Kabir 2 Raka'at prayers delivered by the Chief Imam Ibrahim Idris of Gwalaga Mosque, Bauchi. Trust TV's Adamu Imam completes the story.
As Muslims across Bauchi join their counterpart across the world to observe the 2 Raka'at prayers as a tradition of the Prophet of Islam, the Chief Imam called on them to rededicate themselves to Allah. We shall remain in peace by the grace of God. Change begins with us. I urge everyone to purify their mind for our own good. You observe that people always cheat one another, and that is evil. I beg people in the name of Allah to always practice the teaching of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam that will usher us lasting peace and tranquility. God will answer our prayers. While some of the worshippers lamented the current economic hardship, others are happy to witness Eid al-Kabir prayer.
They used to increase money which people cannot afford to buy sell. And we pray for them to fear Allah in all their doings. And we are very happy for the day.
Many people sacrifice, but there are those who cannot afford it due to the situation of the nation. We cannot say only Bauchi State alone. No, the entire nation are facing a lot of problems, insecurity everywhere. But we thank God we are here.
As a festival of sacrifice, Muslims are reminded of the need to remember and extend a hand of fellowship to the less privileged among them. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
In a similar vein, Muslims in Zamfara state have joined their counterparts the world over to mark this year's Eid al-Kabir celebration. The Chief Imam of the Tudunwada Eid ground, Imam Dan Al-Haji Sambo, who led the 2 Raka'at prayers, urged Muslims to pray for peace, security and unity of the state and the country at large. The report.
Muslims in Gusau, the Zamfara state capital, converged at Tudun Wada Eid ground to observe the 2 Raka'at prayers to mark the Eid al-Kabir celebrations in the state. Among those who observed the Eid al-Kabir prayers at the Tudun Wada praying ground was the Deputy Governor of Zamfara State, Senator Hassan Nasiha, former Deputy Governor of the state, Ibrahim Wakala, and the Emir of Gusau, Ibrahim Bello. Governor Bello Matoali of Zamfara State had, in a statewide broadcast to the people, congratulated Muslims on the occasion of Eid. He called on the people of the state to use the occasion to renew their faith, preach and pray for peace, and also show love, understanding, tolerance, and good neighborliness among themselves. Governor Matoali said his administration is alive to its responsibility of tackling the insecurity bedeviling the state, noting that such determination informed the security measures which the state government, under his leadership, have initiated, especially the 4 special committees he constituted to ensure the implementation of the new measures.
As a mark of my administration commitment to entrenchment of peace and amid insecurity in the state, we have remained alive to our responsibility. Our latest effort to end the crisis are evident through new strategy. I have inaugurated 4 committees to implement the new measures we have taken toward ending the menace. It is therefore my sincere hope and expectation, and indeed the good people of Zamfara State, that inshallah in no distant future we shall return to our legendary peaceful coexistence in the state.
Governor Bello Matoali seized the opportunity of the occasion to affirm his renewed resolve and dedication to enhancing the welfare of the people by presenting them with bountiful opportunities. He assured his administration will continue to design and enact policies and programs that will help the people and bring about prosperity in the state.
As we begin this sacred festivity, we shall reflect on its essence and general message to humanity. The underlying message of submission, as evidenced by the obedience of Prophet Ibrahim to carry out a sacrifice, shows that through submissions to the will of Allah, humankind will attain a state of redemption, spiritual purity, and enduring peace and prosperity. I am aware that Eid al-Kabir 1443 is celebrated when inflation has become a major concern among Nigerians, especially before the current social and economic issues have a negative impact on the economy throughout the world.
The governor of Zamfara State, Bello Muhammad, observed the Eid al-Kabir celebration at his country's home, Marafun town, in Maradun local government area of the state.
Still on the Eid al-Kabir celebration, the Emir of Kefi has tasked residents to be more vigilant and expose any inmate linked to the recent Kuje prison break if found within the state. The Emir, who confirmed that one of the Boko Haram inmates was arrested in Sabongari, Nasarawa state, and currently under detention, made this known in his Salah message to residents of Kefi as they mark Eid al-Kabir celebration. Gaza Yakubu was there and now reports.
Sounds like this are unique to festivity in Kefi, as you're most likely to hear them during the Salah period. The people of Kefi do not compromise their Salah celebration, which is usually captured via a display of embroidered attires, horse riding skills, and traditional drums. The Emir of Kefi, Shehu Chindo Yamusa III, amidst the level of insecurity in the country, called on residents to expose any suspected criminal in their neighborhood. I want to plead with you all to report anything suspicious in the society. Like what happened yesterday, one of the Boko Haram inmates who escaped in Kuje prison was yesterday captured in Sabongari, Nasarawa state, and will soon be handed over to the authorities. I therefore want to plead with you all not to hide anyone suspicious. While reacting to the Emir's message, a resident said Nigeria has what it takes to curb insecurity in the country.
If we really need to get down to the bottom of it, the security has everything to be proud of and get to to the root of this thing. The Emir of Katsina has said it all. If only security can live up the country, yourself and myself, those are the highest echelon, can do something, come up, we can get to the root of it.
The Salah festivity, according to a resident, have come with some harsh economical realities that has affected this year's Salah celebration.
Between this Salah and the past one, that is the Caribbean Salah, you can see everything now is very, very, very cost. It's very, very exorbitant. And money is very, very hard and difficult. It's very, very difficult for everybody to have money. And those our rich people that have been helping us, they are unable to go in our cycle all.
The Emir of Keffi, in his Salah message, tasked the people of Keffi to take education, agriculture and business serious in order to help improve their standard of living. Gaza Yakubu, Trust TV News, Keffi.
And in the southwest, the chief imam of Osun State, Sheikh Musa Anima Shaun, has appealed to Muslims to reflect on the lessons of Eid celebration and conduct themselves in a peaceful manner during next week's governorship election in the state. In his sermon at the Oshogbo Eid prayer ground, the imam also called on the electoral umpire to ensure free, fair, credible and acceptable governorship election. Trust TV's Hamid Oyegbade files in the report.
The central Eid praying ground in Oshogbo, Osun State capital, was filled to capacity as Muslims converged for the Eid-el-Kabir 2 Rakat prayer with Chief Imam of Osun State, Sheikh Musa Anima Shaun, leading the Eid prayer. The state governor, Adegboyega Oyetola, the Asiwaju Musulumi of Yorubaland, Chief Kamis Olatunde Badmus, and Senator Bashir Rajibola were among dignitaries that prayed at the Oshogbo Eid praying ground. The sermon delivered by the chief imam centered on next week's governorship election in the state. He appealed to Muslims to conduct themselves peacefully during the election and vote for a candidate of their choice. I reminded people that everything in this life will vanish, and all of us shall account for our deeds and be rewarded accordingly. I appeal to the people of Osun State to shun violence during the governorship election in the state next week, and also charge the Independent National Electoral Commission, security agencies and politicians to ensure that their activities do not eat up the polity. The state governor, Adegboyega Oyetola, in his Salah message to the people, advised residents to shun electoral violence.
I want to enjoy our people to please ensure that the election that is coming up is peaceful. We should not engage in any violence. Election is not a do or die affair. So our state is known for peace. I want the peace to be maintained. And I believe by the grace of Almighty Allah that I'll be re-elected come 16th of July.
The leader of Muslims in Yorubaland, Chief Kamis Olatunde Badmus, warned against vote buying and appealed to residents to vote according to their conscience.
By now, the politicians should know that the areas of by inducing voters. I'm sure everybody is wise now, but they will still attempt it because there's no way you can stop that. Because they believe they are investing.
And in the South-South region, Muslims faithful in Rivers State also joined their counterparts across the world to celebrate the Eid al-Kabir. The faithful gathered early in the morning for the open-air special prayers called Salat al-Eid, where they were tasked on sacrifice, selflessness, peace and harmonious coexistence to boost the country's unity. The report.
Speaking with newsmen after the Eid prayers, the chief imam of River State Central Mosque, Abdul Malik Yahya, called on Muslim faithful to extend the love shared beyond the Salah festivities. He said peace and unity remains the panacea to end insecurity across the country.
We should know that
our moral value, our heritage, our identity should be maintained to the benefit of our country.
One of the lessons is that we need to reiterate our steps and reaffirm our loyalty and faithfulness to God Almighty.
You know, gradually Islam is gaining acceptance amongst my people. You know, before ignorance has been playing a part, but right now, you know, people are getting education and people are mixing more than before. People travel more than before.
Imam Yahya emphasized the need for every citizen to come out en masse for continuous voters registration exercise in order to vote the credible leaders that will address insecurity in the 2023 general elections.
Come 2023, elections are around the corner, and the citizen has the power to elect credible leaders that will lead them, that will pilot the affairs of whatever that concerns them.
Well, I think I want to urge our leaders not to divide us along political line, along tribal and ethnic line. They should see how they can play their politics devoid of any political, religious and tribal manipulation.
There are many rivers indigens, and Islam is growing. Islam is not a terrorist religion, it's a religion of peace. It promotes peaceful coexistence. It tells you that you need to create a better relationship between you and your creator.
Today is Salah. You know, the significance of what we are celebrating is the faithfulness of Allah and the obedience of Prophet Ibrahim.
The Eid al-Kabir is an Islamic festival commemorating the willingness of Prophet Ibrahim to sacrifice his son Ismail as commanded by Allah, an act of submission before God intervened and provided a ram in exchange. The Eid al-Kabir celebration is usually marked on the 10th day of Zulhijjah in the Islamic calendar.
The need for Muslim Ummah to be pious and intensify prayers for God to bring an end to insecurity in Nigeria was the focus of the Eid al-Kabir sermon at the Murtala Square Eid ground in Kaduna. The Chief Imam, Habib Umar, called on the Muslim to extend love to the people irrespective of religion and also urged Muslims to obtain their permanent voters' cards to elect credible leaders in the 2023 general elections.
In the early hours of Eid al-Kabir Day, thousands of Muslim faithfuls converge on Murtala Square Eid ground to observe 2 Raka'at Eid prayers. The arrival of the Imam signifies the commencement of the 2 Raka'at prayers. Delivering his sermon after the Eid prayer, the Chief Imam Umar Habib urged Muslims to observe the rituals that bind them on Eid Day.
The Muslim faithful is to observe all the rituals that are supposed to do for them, that is binding on them today, and also remain peaceful as they have been throughout their lives.
On the 2023 elections, the Chief Imam, who called on Muslims to obtain their voters' card and elect credible leaders in the 4th election, also urged them to work toward a rancor-free election and seek the forgiveness of Allah to bring an end to insecurity.
Approaching this election, may it not be a source of calamity or enemy among the nation. And may He, Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, reopen to us the processes and also the procedures of peace by His grace.
You see, in a democratic setting, you use your permanent voter's card to confirm a government or to sack it. Any government that does well, you can ratify it using your thumbprint. But you cannot use your thumbprint if you don't have your permanent voter's card. And any government that is not doing well, you can sack it using your thumbprint. You cannot do that if you don't have the permanent voter's card.
Permanent voter's card is now compulsory for everybody.
whether Muslim or Christian, even unbeliever, we're supposed to have the PBC. That is the weapon that we are going to use to elect the best leaders. If you are not happy with the way things are happening today, the only way out is for us to get our PBC. When the election comes, we vote for the right people.
High point was the slaughtering of ram by the Imam, signified the commencement of the sacrifice of slaughtering ram by Muslims faithful.
You're watching the News Hour on Trust Television. Coming up after the break. 2 missing, 4 rescued in Lagos flood. Details and more shortly.
To every politician, as the campaigns gain momentum and passions begin to rise, remember, the errors of your opponents do not make you a success. Do not run down your opponent and inflame passions to violence between and among your supporters. What counts is what you plan to do for the electorate and how you intend to relieve the sufferings and bring succor. Nigeria is in dire need of patriotic leaders at all levels. Leaders who will make national development their priority. Concentrate on telling the electorate what you intend to do when you get into office. Focus on making your vision clear to the electorate. Don't engage in verbal abuses, fake news or speeches. Keep dealing with issues that will bring progress. You win the hearts and minds of the people by being above board, by being civil, patriotic, and showing empathy. Let's join hands to make the 2023 elections peaceful. A message from the National Orientation Agency.
That's great.
Welcome back. You're watching the News Hour on Trust Television. Here is a reminder of our top stories. 7 more kidnapped Abuja-Kaduna train passengers regain freedom. President Buhari urges Nigerians to put country's interest above self as Muslims celebrate Eid al-Kabir. In other news, former Senate President Bukola Saraki has described the recent visit of some All Progressives Congress governors to their Rivers State counterpart, Nyesom Wike, as an exercise in futility. The governors of Lagos, Ekiti, and Ondo states, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, Dr. Kayode Fayemi, and Olurotimi Akeredolu, met with Wike in Port Harcourt, Rivers State capital, on Friday. But speaking with reporters in Ilorin, Kwara State after the Eid celebration, Saraki said that the visit will amount to nothing at the end of the day because PDP will not allow Governor Wike to go. On the current strike by university unions in Nigeria, the ex-governor of Kwara State laid the blame on the federal government's insensitivity. Now, ahead of the 2023 general elections, the All Progressives Congress APC says it is working hard to develop strong partnership between states and zone in the Northwest in order to achieve victory at the poll. Briefing members of the party on the outcome of the meetings by various committees of the party, the National Vice Chairman, Northwest APC, Salihu Lukman, said that they are working to set up situation room in each state and take steps to ensure that the party supporters get the PVCs. Lukman also appealed to the public to ensure that the issue of voter registration is given priority attention.
In some of the worries we have, all of us, and I think every party leader had that worry, about the fact that the statistics coming out from voter registration exercise are still worrisome. And we need to do everything possible to correct that. We have decided immediately to work in each state to set up what we call situation room, to establish specifically the situation with voters registration exercise, and accordingly take steps to mobilize people to ensure they register. And in that respect, we also have agreed, and together with the chairman in each of the states and other leaders of the party, we will look at ways and means of establishing stronger relationship with INEC officials, in the sense that because we understand there are areas where the registration is low, largely because the necessary logistical requirement, which is to be provided by INEC, not any other person, is not being provided. So we will take all the appropriate steps to ensure that is done. We want to use this opportunity through you to appeal to the general public, especially our members and supporters, to really do everything necessary to ensure the issue of registration, voter registration, is given adequate priority.
The fifth Wazir in Katsina, Professor Sani Luga, who relinquished his title following a query issued to him by Katsina Emirate Council some months ago, has broken his silence. Professor Luga says Nigerians must resist the imposition of leaders on them if the country is to move forward. The former traditional title holder, who made the comments while addressing journalists at his residence in Katsina, also spoke widely on various challenges confronting the Nigerian people. Abdullahi Yamadi has the details.
Professor Luga was queried for controversial media comments he made on insecurity and had not been heard or seen in any public since then. The Professor of Management and Conflict Resolution is blaming leadership at all levels for the socio-economic drift, abject poverty, insecurity, and educational decay among numerous problems plaguing the country.
By this, I sympathize with Mr. President, who will have to answer how 200 million people lived during his tenure. I sympathize with my governor, who has to answer how 10 or more million people survived in 8 years of his tenure.
Luga is also accusing religious and traditional leaders for their rigid approach to addressing issues related to incessant killings, rape, wrestling of animals, and all forms of injustice. Their inability to employ other strategies, he believes, has allowed the issues to fester
and degenerate into the current calamities threatening the existence of the Nigerian people.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, God, sent prophets to show people the importance of leaders. They were his representatives on earth.
The fifth Wazir in Katsina is claiming that the social order has been so distorted to the extent that ethnicity, language and culture are no longer symbols of cohesion and understanding, but have become war arsenals. This, Professor says, is demonstrated by those agitating for ethnic enclaves like the Biafra or Oduduwa republics rather than national identity.
Where are the religious leaders, both the Muslims and the Christians, who unfortunately many of them misuse religion?
While providing solution to the challenges facing the country, Professor Luga predicts that Nigeria will remain far from prosperity if the current tradition of choosing political leaders is not changed.
The Nigerian constitution clearly states that the purpose of government is to secure lives and for the welfare of the people.
He therefore charged Nigerians not to submit themselves to bad leaders who are not concerned with protecting their lives and property. Abdullahi Ismayamadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
Now, in a tragic incident, 2 persons have been declared missing while 4 others have been rescued in a violent flood that swept their vehicles away in Orile, Agege area of Lagos. The vehicles, a Lexus Jeep and a Toyota, were said to be carrying 3 people each along Fatoki Street, Agege, when the flood swept their vehicles into an uncompleted drainage in the area. Rescuers from both the National Emergency Management Agency and those from the Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, as well as the fire service, were still searching for the 2 missing persons. Public Relations Officer of NEMA Southwest Region, Ibrahim Farinloye, who confirmed the incident, said that 4 persons were rescued alive. Meanwhile, the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, says at least 2 bodies have been recovered after a W-19 passenger fiber boat carrying 16 people capsized in the Ojo area of Lagos State. NEMA spokesperson Ibrahim Farinloye, in a statement, said that the 2 bodies recovered were that of a 52-year-old male and a 20-year-old female. Recovery operations are still ongoing. According to the statement, the boat took off from Mile 2 to Ibesha in Ojo axis and capsized due to the operation at night against the inland waterways rules. The operators of the boat were said to have violated the safety rules by operating beyond the approved time for commercial boat operation in Lagos. A statement by the Lagos area manager of the National Inland Waterways Authority, Engineer Sarat Brima, revealed that 16 passengers were on board the ill-fated boat as at the time of the incident, adding that all 16 persons are yet to be accounted for. We'll now take a short break. The news hour continues shortly. Please stay with us.
Nigerians, elections are here again. Let us shun violence. Let us play the game according to the rules. Do not be a thug. Say no to violence. Let's rise and defeat violence, crime, and sabotage against the peace of our nation. Nigeria is the only country we have. We must do everything to keep it united. We must avoid any act that promotes hate and disintegration. Say no to separatist movement. terrorism, fake news, hate speech, religious bigotry, and any act that tends to divide us as a nation. Watch out for strange gatherings and suspicious movements. Restrict access to sensitive documents and data, the disclosure of which may damage national security. Educate your staff and family, particularly on measures to safeguard information and report security breaches. Apply relevant legal security guidelines to protect yourself and your neighbors. Due to misinformation and wrong choices, some idle persons resort to vices in their greed to get rich quick. They resort to kidnapping, killings for rituals, and other heinous crimes. Avoid wrong use of the social media. Before you broadcast that false message, think twice. Ask whether it will promote peace or violence. For safety at home, still be security conscious. Educate your household on safety tips. Report all suspicious movements and persons to the security agencies nearest to you. Be a good citizen. Be patriotic. To pass security information, please call 0813-222-2105, 0915-339-1309, 0908-837-3514, or send a mail to dssPR@dss.gov.
Thanks for staying. You're watching the News Hour on Trust Television. Away from Nigeria, Sri Lanka President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has agreed to step down next week. The country's parliamentary speaker, Mahinda Yapa, has said. The announcement came hours after protesters stormed the president's official residence to vent their anger over the country's severe economic crisis. Now, a steady stream of mourners on Saturday visited the scene of former Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe's assassination in the western city of Nara, an unusual act of political violence that has shocked the nation. Japan's longest-serving modern leader was gunned down while making a campaign speech on Friday morning by a 41-year-old man in a deed decried by political establishment as an attack on democracy itself. Meanwhile, intense floods killed dozens of people and left hundreds homeless in Pakistan, officials said on Saturday, as heavy monsoon rains battered the country. In the southern province of Balochistan, 57 people, including women and children, were killed after being swept away in flood waters, according to Zola Langov, the Disaster and Home Affairs Advisor to the province chief minister. And in business news, Tesla boss Elon Musk pulled the plug on his $44 billion deal to buy Twitter on Friday, accusing the company of misleading statements about the number of fake accounts a regulatory filing showed. Musk's termination of the deal he inked in April to buy the social media giant sets the stage for an epic court battle over $1 billion breakup fee and more. And in sports news, head coach of Super Falcons, Randy Waldrum, has apologized for his statement at Thursday's post-match conference, where he dropped an unsavory comment about the Nigerian media. The gaffer, who had described the Nigerian media as negative, was immediately called to order by Nigeria Football Federation, saying that the statement was uncomplimentary for an institution that is the most vibrant on the African continent in terms of structure and performance. Waldrum insisted that despite earning only 3 points from 2 matches, the Super Falcons are not in any way disoriented and still have the FIFA World Cup ticket and retaining the Continental Trophy as principal objective at the tournament in Morocco. The Super Falcons will take on Burundi in Rabat on Sunday with the minimum win to guarantee a place in the championship's quarterfinals. And still in sports news, Canada and Costa Rica qualified for the 2023 Women's World Cup after winning group stage matches at the CONCACAF W tournament. Julia Grosso scored in the 64th minute to give Canada, the reigning Olympic champion, a 1-0 victory over Panama, while Christine Granados netted 2 first-half goals in Costa Rica's 4-0 victory over Trinidad and Tobago. Still in sports news, Russian-born Elena Rybakina powered back from a set-down against Ons Jabeur to win the Wimbledon title on Saturday, denying the Tunisian world number 2 the chance to make African tennis history. Jabeur raced out of the blocks, but the 17th seed regrouped and dropped just 4 more games on the way to a 3-6, 6-2, 6-3 victory. Russian and Belarusian players were banned from Wimbledon this year following the invasion of Ukraine, but Moscow-born Rybakina switched her allegiance to Kazakhstan in 2018. And with that, we wrap up the news hour. Watch more via all our social media platforms, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. I am Ayuba Ilya. Eid Mubarak.